Welcome to Stache, another episode of Stache Sports. As you can see, I got my basketball jersey back there for the game tonight, even though the Celtics aren't playing. I got my Paul's game jersey up, even though the Pirates blew that game yesterday, and it was a bullpen. I really wrecked that game against the Dodgers. I mean, I know it's going to be hard against the Dodgers, but we'll get into that later on in the video. I got a football jersey up there behind me, if you can see that. But we'll first talk about the hockey game last night. Last night, the Carolina Hurricanes were looking to tie the series up against the Las Vegas Golden Knights in Vegas and split the home series, like the Vegas Golden Knights split in Carolina, and go up and tie that 2 games apiece and going down 3-1 in Las Vegas Golden Knights. The Carolina Hurricanes ended up winning last night, spoiler alert, but there's a couple of good goals. The goal that ended up winning, even though they had an empty netter near the end, was a goal by Jordan Staal. Vegas to play for the our beloved Pittsburgh Penguins way back when, and won a Stanley Cup with the Penguins too. Jordan Staal had a goal where he slipped on the ice and fell on his belly, but he was okay. He didn't get hurt, but he fell on his belly and still was able to score a goal to end up helping the Carolina Hurricanes win, which was basically the game winner. Because I know they had an empty netter, but an empty netter is when the goaltender, when the other team is down by a goal and they're trying to get the extra attacker out. They're trying to get the extra attacker out to try to get more points. Or try to get a goal to tie up the game. So they take the goaltender out to have an extra player on. And there's no goaltender, so if they get in the net, it still counts as a goal. But it's an empty net goal because there's no one to goaltend the net and protect the net from the puck going in. But Carolina ended up winning by 2 points last night, which was nice to see. Because if we go back to yesterday's video, I even picked the Carolina Hurricanes to win yesterday. So I thought they were going to tie up a series. So now that means it goes to game 5. Or game 6, excuse me. At least 6 games. So we got 2 more hockey games this season at least. And game 6 Sunday night at 8:30. 8 o'clock, which we'll get to that later, but that's Sunday. And that's going to be competing against the UFC Freedom 250. I definitely will be watching the UFC Freedom 250. So hopefully that goes to game 7 so I can see who wins the Stanley Cup live. And not have to watch it on replay or highlights because I'll be watching the UFC fight that Sunday night at 8 o'clock on CBS and Paramount Plus, or maybe it's on Paramount Plus, but I also think it's on CBS Network too. But I'll get more into that later on this weekend when we talk about the Freedom 250 on Sunday's episode. Even though I'll probably do it Saturday, but we'll talk about the Freedom 250 on Sunday's episode, and I'll talk about my predictions, or maybe do that Saturday. I haven't decided what I'm going to do about that. But the Freedom 250 is Sunday night, 8 o'clock, the UFC fight, and that's the game 6 now of the Carolina Hurricanes. But I'll definitely be watching the UFC fight. But anyway, I know I'm going on. Rambling on about something. Last night, the Carolina Hurricanes won 5-3, like I said. It was close. The Carolina Hurricanes were winning 3-1 to go in the second period, and Las Vegas came back and tied the game going into the third period. So it was tied going into the third period. And Jordan Staal had a goal where he fell on his stomach, ended up getting the game winner, making it 4-3, and Vegas was able to come back. And then they had an empty netter near the end, which I said earlier. Logan Stankoven was assisted by Jalen Crawford and Jackson Blake to make it 1-0. And then Jackson Blake, assisted by Tyler Hall and Nico Ehlers, made it 2-0. And then Mark Stone on the goal made it 2-1. And then Jordan Staal had a power play goal, making it 3-1. And then William Karlsson and Brett Holden scored only 2 goals in the second period, making it 3-3. Going into the third period. I thought this game might go to overtime, but no. Jordan Staal, with 6 minutes scored, assisted by Nicole Ehlers, and that was the one where Jordan Staal fell on his stomach and was able to get the puck in the net and ended up being the game winner. And then Nicole Ehlers had an empty net goal to make it 5-3 and make sure Vegas wins, make sure Carolina won to tie the series up. Now they're going to have a day off before they go back to Carolina to play game 5 and see who gets that 3-2. But right now it's 2-2. This gets a good game. I really hope this goes to 7 now. But I just found out by clicking on it by accident. But the game's going to be on Sunday night, competing for the UFC fight. So I'll be watching the UFC fight. But we'll be talking about the UFC fight later this week when it happens, and I'll do my predictions on the episode. But you guys have to stay tuned and watch the episodes to find out who I pick in the UFC fights, because I'm not doing it today because then you won't watch the episode I actually do pick them in. But anyway, that's nice to see Carolina won. Now it's tied 2-2. That's a really good series. Even Carolina had Bussy playing last night, and Bussy, the backup goaltender that came in game 4 in the third period when Carolina had that major comeback at 4 goals, was able to play tonight and get his first career playoff start, his first career playoff win. So congratulations to Bussy. It's going to be interesting to see if they keep going with Bussy. I mean, they know they won 3-2, but they probably will go Bussy, I guess, again. But, I mean, Frederick Anderson did lead them all the way to here, so they're going to go back to Frederick Anderson, or they can keep Bussy right now because Bussy's playing hot right now, even though it gave 3 goals, but they still scored 2 more goals to win the game. I mean, I know 3 goals is not good to give up in a hockey game, but Carolina overcame it, even though they blew the lead they had, overcame it and won in regulation. Because I think this is going to be the first game in this whole thing, but then they go to overtime. Most of every game's going to overtime, so that's nice to see that this game won in regulation, and Carolina won it tied up to 2. And like I said, I picked the Carolina Hurricanes to win yesterday, so that's nice to see the Carolina Hurricanes win. I can't wait to see what happens in this next series, to see who wins in the next game and who outplays who. I mean, the Carolina Hurricanes are looking really good right now. I mean, they won last night, and now they tied it up at 2. Well, that's enough about that. Carolina, it's won 5-3. Corey Hart had 23 saves, but gave it 27 shots. Whatever. Bussy had 21 shots and 18 saves. But the Carolina Hurricanes have tied it up. That's what the NBA team, the San Antonio Spurs, are trying to do tonight. They're trying to tie it up. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the San Antonio Spurs game. Hopefully the Knicks come out and play tough, because if they keep playing like they did last night, they're not going to be, like they did 2 nights ago, they're not going to be able to win. Even though Trump's not going to beat her this time, they're not going to win, because they had a really bad shooting in the 4th quarter where they went really bad. And if they give them, even if they say the refs are for them or against them, which I don't really know either way in that one, they don't need to be getting San Antonio early foul trouble in the 4th quarter and sending the San Antonio Spurs to the free throw line. I mean, that's something that kind of wrecked them too. They send the San Antonio Spurs to the free throw line early in that game and kept giving them a lot of foul shots, which are easy shots. I mean, I know sometimes they don't make all of their foul shots, but those are easier shots to be made in a goal game, in a hockey game. So if they keep making those shots, then it's going to be easy for them to make it and make the shots. And the San Antonio Spurs won it. I mean, the San Antonio Spurs are going to play tough again tonight because they're trying to tie the series up and make it a new series and make it a Game 6, like the Carolina Hurricanes and Las Vegas Golden Knights are. But I mean, they weren't down 2-0, and they were only down 2-1 Carolina and Vegas. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, I know only 5 teams come down from 2-0 and losing 2-0 to home. But it's going to be interesting to see if the New York Knicks can be the first team in the series to win a home game, since the New York Knicks took both in San Antonio. Will San Antonio take both in New York? Will the fans have to wait another game for possible Game 6 to come back to New York to try to win, or will they be winning Game 5? I don't know. It's going to be hard. I mean, they need to get Jalen Brunson. So they need to get Jalen Brunson to get going, and they need to get Carl Anthony Towns to get going to help them win. They need to get more players going than just in Hart, maybe, than just the players last night that did good. If the Knicks want to win, they have to have good defense like they've been having. The Knicks' defense kind of lackluster the last game, and that's one reason why they lost too. I mean, they had real good defense, but the San Antonio Spurs are going to come out, and if Victor Alma has another good, if Victor Alma has another good game, that's going to be tough for New York. I mean, they need Carl Anthony Towns to do good tonight. They need Jalen Brunson to do good tonight, and they need more players to do good than just those 3. If the Knicks want to win, let's be honest. I mean, if the Knicks play like they did in San Antonio in Game 1, they might be able to win, but if they play like they did last night, it's going to be tough. No matter who is it and who thinks it's and jinxes or anything. No matter if you believe in jinxes or whatever, it's going to be tough for the San Antonio Spurs and for the New York Knicks to win if they play like they did in Game 1. I mean, I know it's a close game, but when they won 121 to 108, oh, that's against the Cavaliers, I messed up. But I mean, they had good games in this one. But I mean, they only lost by 4, but they need to have a good show, and they need to have a good show all throughout for the New York Knicks tonight to win. They don't need to go on a cold streak, the Knicks. They don't need to start off slow. I mean, I know Victor Yamba carried him and had 32 points. That's something good for Victor Yamba. And if he does that again tonight, it might be tough, and they might tie it up to games apiece. But the New York Knicks have been sweeping everybody else that they can come in contact with, and they've been winning over a month, so they need to get back to that basketball and that brand. They don't need to be worried about the refs like Mike Brown was worried about the refs in that game. They need to play the New York Knicks basketball, and they might have a good chance of winning. They need Hart to have more points tonight, too. And OG Anunoby to have another good game. I mean, OG Anunoby was one of their top scorers, but they needed a big game for Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns is one of their high-paid players, only had 11 points. That's one reason why they lost, too, because Karl-Anthony Towns only had 11 points. If Karl-Anthony Towns would have more than 11 points, then we might be having a different conversation talking about a possible sweep tonight in the NBA, but he didn't have that good game. And Mikal Bridges needs to have a better game, too, and their starters. I mean, Josh Hart had a 16-point game. He could do better, too. But Jalen Brunson was 32, and the OG Anunoby 28. They need to have good gates, too. They need to keep a foot on the gas pedal and not try to give the Spurs a lead or foul the Spurs. I mean, that's one thing that happened, too. Seemed like in the fourth quarter, like, even though I don't like him, Nick, whatever his name is, the guy on Fox Sports First Taker was Scott, the one that has a high-pitched voice and really long hair, and he is on Fox Sports. Who has a big Kansas City Chiefs fan. I think his name is Nick, or whatever his name is. I'm not a big fan of him, but he was right. The New York Knicks were in early foul trouble in one of the quarters, and they had a lot of fouls given to them, even if it wasn't the refs' fault. But they had a lot of fouls given to them. That's one thing they need to do, too. But it is going to be interesting to see if they have watch parties, because I've been seeing a lot of reports about the New York Knicks fans not being able to control themselves in the streets and starting to fight about the New York Knicks fans or Spurs fans. And that's one reason why they're not having the watch parties. Because I know one of my commenters and one of my local supporters, Jake, was talking about that. I don't think it would be because of Donald Trump. I mean, I know they didn't have it outside the stadium, but they did have a lot of watch parties all around New York City. But I heard other rumors from like Michael Rappaport yesterday, that's an actor or something, that there's fights going on, and that's why some people might be not having watch parties, and they might be watching from home, but they don't want to have the cops get in fights and have people go to jail and all that stuff and tear down the city. I don't get why people do that and why they act like clowns when their team's on like that, but we'll see. But we're going back to the game. But like I said, the New York Knicks need to have a strong game. I mean, they had Spurs in that game where they're strong, but the Spurs just seem to want it more. It's going to be interesting to see tonight how the New York Knicks respond after losing a game for the first time in over a month. I mean, they haven't lost a game, I think, since being down 2-1 against the Atlanta Hawks early on in the first round. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond back. I mean, if they respond back and they do good tonight, then that's going to be good for them. I mean, they're looking pretty good right now. They're still up 2-1 and still have a serious lead. But if he leads tonight, and that means it's a whole new series in my book, and that means the New York Knicks could mess it up. And it could be anybody's game, because it's tied at 2 games apiece going to Game 6 to see who wins Game 5 and make it through the 2. But we'll see.
Marines.
I mean, I know Victor Yamba is going to have a big game tonight for the Spurs. And Darren Fox and Harper might have a big game for the Spurs tonight too. But it's going to be interesting to see if the Spurs can start off strong and do. I mean, the Spurs have been starting off strong in the last few games, but this is the first game that they were able to win. And they won by 115 to 111. I mean, it was a close game. Nick Simmons came back in the end. It's not going to be over until it's over. But if the Knicks want to do good, they need to do good like they did in Game 1, where they won 105 and 95. Because that was the best game they played so far this series. I mean, the Spurs were pretty close in Game 2, if we go back to Game 2. But in that game, we're going back to Game 1. Karl-Anthony had 18 points, and Brunson had 13 points. They should not have 13 points, so they need their bench to do good for New York too. So they can't complain that Trump is a bad luck charm. They need their players to play well and play like they've been playing to get up there. I mean, that's one reason why the New York Knicks lost, is because the New York Knicks messed up that game, and they didn't have enough scoring. I mean, 11 points isn't going to cut it in the NBA Finals if your other players aren't shooting well. I mean, and it also helps if your other players do well if your star players like Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson are doing good. It helps your other players get the momentum and do well too. So that also helps them do well and helps them show up and show out for their team. I mean, that's one reason why they were looking pretty good. They looked pretty good in game one because Brunson did good instead of Karl Anthony Towns, so the rest of the players followed suit. That's one reason why the Spurs did good because Victor Yamba was looking really good for the Spurs in game 3 and had a really good coming. I mean, I know the Spurs were playing that game really hard because the Spurs didn't want to get swept and at least win one game in the series. But if they win tonight, it's a whole new series and it's going to game 6, and now it's anybody's series. And the New York Knicks' comfortable 2-1 lead is hearsay, and now the whole fan base is going to probably turn right in New York. But whatever. But if they lose tonight, then it's a whole new series. And that means that it's anybody's series, no matter what. I mean, right now, New York still has a 2-1 series lead over them. If they go 3-1, that might be hard. That might be hard for them to come back. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting time for see. But I think that, I don't know. Since I'm rooting for the Spurs, I think the Spurs will win tonight. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think New York might come back and bounce back and win tonight and try to win one in New York. But it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Victor Yamba did have a good night. Since he finally had that good night and got the monkey off his back, and the Spurs got the monkey off their back and finally won a game in the series, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond back tonight. If the Spurs do good tonight, then it's tied at 2 games apiece, and it's anybody's series. But it's also going to be interesting to see how good the New York Knicks respond back. I mean, like I said, the New York Knicks have been going on a crazy run and haven't lost a game until last night, or 2 nights ago, when they lost to the Spurs 115 and 111. Haven't lost a game in over a month since being down 2-1 to Atlanta Hawks. So if we go back to that play and their players do good, it's going to be that. But they don't even get in early foul trouble either. That's something that kind of affected them too. They got in early foul trouble in the fourth quarter, sending the Spurs, to the free throw line, giving them easier shots, but trying to have to go up for a contested layup or try to make a three-pointer. They gave them easier shots to make. That's one reason why the Knicks lost too. They gave them easier shots to make, and that's one other reason why the Knicks lost. But I think the Knicks have a good game tonight. Let's see what the betting odds are. As I found out last night, DraftKings betting is in all states now. If you bet, please bet responsibly. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But I think the Spurs win. New York is a minus 2.5 tonight.
How do we stop it?
New York with San Antonio, seriously. San Antonio Spurs are 62-20, second in the Western Conference, versus New York 50-29, third in the Eastern Conference. The open is at minus 110 and the minus 112 for New York and the minus 1.5. But it's going to be interesting to see what the New York Knicks do. If the New York Knicks can keep doing good and keep winning, then that's going to be good for the Knicks fans. But we'll see. I mean, I just want to be a good game tonight. That's all I really care for at 8:30, to watch a good basketball game and be entertained and not have a blowout. But I think the Spurs tie it up tonight. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't really care. But I think the Spurs tie it up tonight. And we'll see. But that's all. But I think Victor Yamba had another good night. It's going to be interesting to see if Victor Yamba can have another 32-point night like he did in Game 2, or bounce back up. I mean, Victor Yamba is looking like one of these young and upcoming superstars for the San Antonio Spurs. So it's going to be interesting to see what Victor Yamba can do. And like you know, like I said before, I said Spurs in 6. So Spurs can still win in 6. If they win tonight and win tomorrow night and go on a 3-game winning streak, they can still win in 6. And that's what I said early on in the sports episodes. If you need to go back and refresh yourself, you can go back to a couple of videos when I was talking about the beginning. Serious. But I said Spurs in 6, so I'm sticking to that. And I think the Spurs won tonight and tied the series up. I think it's a close game. I think Victor Yamba and I think Darren Fox have a big night. I think Vassell has a big night from Florida State University. I think he has a big night for the Spurs. But I'm going to be surprised to see Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns and Joe and Hart and OG Anunoby have a big game for the Knicks to try to put the series to bed and go 3-1. I mean, if they go 3-1, that's going to be tough. only one team in the NBA history that's come back from 3-1 deficit in the NBA Finals. The 2026 Cleveland Cavaliers. So if the Spurs go down tonight, the odds are not in their favor to come back. And it looks like it might be like a New York Knicks championship if the Knicks win tonight. So that's going to be added pressure to the Knicks too. If they go 3-1, but it's going to be added pressure to the Knicks to try to see if the Knicks can do good to try to come back from a 3-1 deficit. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see. They're playing with the Golden State Warriors. Being able to finals the best of 7. We're down 3-1. The Cavaliers won 4-3 and claimed the first championship in 50 years. But they came down 3-1. But I don't exactly remember if they're down 2-0 and lost both for 2 home games or how they were down 3-1. Because that was a long time ago. That was a few years ago, so I don't remember how they did that. But the odds are not going to be in their favor. If the New York Knicks win tonight, it looks like the New York Knicks might win either tonight in Game 5 or Game 6 if the New York Knicks win tonight. But I think the Spurs tied up tonight, but we'll see. Like I said, I just want a close game, but we'll see what happens. But we'll see. But like I said, I'll recap it. If the Spurs want to win tonight, if the Knicks want to win tonight, the Knicks need to have a good game and not go in early foul trouble. They need to have a good game, but they need to be playing like the Knicks have been playing in the past and not playing like they did the last game, or this Knicks team won't be winning the championship because they're not playing well. They need to play the New York Knicks basketball, but I think the Spurs will win tonight. But we'll see. I just hope it's a good game. But tomorrow we'll talk more about it again. I talk about the recap. I talk about whoever wins this game. And I'll give you my honest opinion about what I thought about the game. I think the Tempo beat the Sun tonight in the WNBA. And I think the Storm beat the Sparks tonight. Or Sparks beat the Storm, whatever. Last night, Paul Skeens only gave up 2 runs, but didn't look that bad. Then the Dodgers retired the series. But then the Pirates bullpen came in and decided to give Dodgers the game, and the Dodgers won like 12-2. I knew it's going to be hard for the Pirates to win last night, but that's not good I know the Dodgers have a super stacked team, but that's not good when the bullpen comes in and blows that many points. I mean, I saw an article by Bob Pompeani about like Paul Skeens had like 108 pitches. 108 pitches for like 6 innings, 6.5 innings. And the bullpen came in and gave up 68 pitches in 1 inning. That's not good at all. They need to really fix the bullpen and maybe at the trade deadline try to trade for some arms in the bullpen, even if it means costing some young prospects down the road. They need to get some bullpen arms because they have a really good offense this year, even though they didn't look good last night and have been looking good the last 3 nights. They have a better offense than the years past. So that's something they need to really fix, the Pirates. Let me go into the 6th period. It was tied 2-2. And Paul Skeens got taken out. In the 7th inning, that's when it all went downhill. And the Pirates made a single, whatever, in the 9th. That's what it is. 1 minute, I'm trying to look up the. Oh, it's on the other side. I'm on there. So Paul Skeens went 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, and 2 bases on balls, 7 strikeouts. So that wasn't that bad. It was tied 2-2 when he went out. And then the bullpen came in. The Dotel was normally good, gave up 5 hits, 6 earned runs, and 1 base on balls. And then it went to Bordeaux, who gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, and Santana. But that's not good. They lost 12-3 last night. They need to bounce back tonight. But have Mitch Keller going up against Shohei Ohtani, that's going to be a tough game because Shohei Ohtani is looking really good this year. It's going to be a tough one for the Pirates, but I think the Pirates win. Since I'm a Pirates fan, I'm going to root for my team no matter what. But I think the Pirates win. But it's going to be a tough one for the Pirates to see they win tonight because they're going up against one of the greatest baseball pitchers right now in Shohei Ohtani, which I wish it was Shohei Ohtani last night, but it might have been a tougher game for the Pirates. Even though they're still going to end up getting cracked because their bullpen wasn't that good, and the bullpen hasn't been good all year. The bullpen has led the league now, or has the most blown saves, and that's not good as a bullpen. If the bullpen was half as good as their offense was, they might be a lot better. I mean, Last night might have been tough because the Dodgers are the Dodgers and they're stacked to the gills because they can pay all these superstars to play for them. But we'll see. It's going to be a tough series, I know. But tonight might be tougher since they're going up against Shohei Ohtani. But I think the Pirates win. But last night, we'll go over some of the games. The Rays beat the Red Sox 4-3. The Dodgers won 12-3. That's bad. The Yankees won 3-2 over the Indians. The Blue Jays won 3-2. The Cardinals won 7-0 against the Mets. Oh, I got that one wrong. The Rockies won 7-3 over the Cubs. The Angels won 10-1. The Mariners won 6-5. The Marlins won 10-6. The Detroit Tigers won 10-4. The White Sox won 6-5. Jeez, the Braves lost to the White Sox. That's embarrassing. The Kansas City Royals won 5-3. The Reds won 5-3. The Nationals won 6-3. And the Brewers lost 7-5. I think the Pirates win tonight, even though it's going to be tough because they're going up against Shohei Ohtani. I mean, Shohei Ohtani is one of the best pitchers right now in baseball, but I think the Pirates win tonight. I think the Blue Jays beat the Phillies tonight. I think the Mets beat the Cardinals tonight. I think the Cubs beat the Rockies, even though I don't want that to happen. I think the Angels beat the Athletics. The Tampa Bay Rays beat the Red Sox 7-5 today. Drew Branson fans a career high of 13 as the Rays sweep the Red Sox 7-5 with a 7-5 win. Excuse me. The Yankees win. Jazz Chisholm Jr. drafting a 3-run home run on triples and drops the Guardians 8-5 in a 3-game sweep. The Nationals are winning 2-0. I think the Nationals hold off and win. I think the Padres hold off and win too. I think the Mariners win. I think the Marlins win. I think the Tigers win. I think the Braves win. I think the Rangers win. And I think the Brewers win tonight, even though I don't want the Brewers to win because they're in our division. But so you know, I'm not all biased. Brian Thomas Jr. starting for the Jaguars. The 2026 season begins. The last been 3 months, but the first team are continuing with their off-season workouts. In Week 17, NFL teams kick off. This Week 17, NFL teams take off high gear for 3-day mini camps, and 12 teams will practice. The week of June 15th, 2 teams, the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers, held the mandatory mini camps last week, and the San Francisco Giants canceled their mini camp because they suck. For my Giants fans that watch it, John Harbaugh is hopeful that Malik Neighbors will be back soon. Malik Neighbors tore his ACL and had to have some surgery done on his knee this year, but hopefully he can come back soon because that's something they need. But I mean, they've been really stacking up on receivers this year in the offseason by getting Juju Smith-Schuster, Odell Beckham Jr., Calvin Austin, and somebody else too, but I can't remember his name right now. But they've been really stacking up, and they still have Darius Slayton on their team, and they drafted the receiver from Notre Dame and Malachi Fields. John Harbaugh is especially pleased with the progress that Malik Neighbors has made and hopeful he will be back soon. All positive news on the Giants enter the summer break. Jeremy Joshua even told Yahoo Sports this week that he still thinks Neighbors will be fine for week 1. So I guess we'll see. That's a waiting game, but that's nice to see that the owner's talking about that. Oh, the Packers Tucker Kraft that injured his ACL should be expected to be ready for week 1 too, but we'll see what happens then. And now you could have more harsh comments towards the 49ers, which I think is dumb. I posted a video the other day talking about 49ers not being cheap or whatever, being all this stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, the 49ers are paying a salary, and if the 49ers don't want him, the 49ers can cut him, and he can go somewhere else. I mean, I know it might be bad, but he's not like no Tom Brady of a receiver. I mean, he's a decent receiver, but you can find good receivers in free agency or for trades or for draft picks. So it's not like he's one of a dime in a dozen. I mean, I know he's a decent receiver, but he didn't really have a good year last year. I mean, I know he was hurt last year too, so that made a major impact. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens and see how responds. But if he keeps acting like a prima donna diva, it's not going to be good for him. It's not going to bode well for him. Because like I said, that team could just move on and get rid of his money and either have to buy it if they owe him money in dead cap space or just get rid of him altogether. And he can go play somewhere else. I mean, it might backfire on him, but like I said, a receiver's a dime a dozen. It's not like he's a Tom Brady type of player or a Patrick Mahomes type of player. Colts receiver Alex Pierce's ankle surgery is still unavailable and might be out for a while in mini training camp. That's not good because he just signed a major contract this year. But hopefully he can come back. The government responded to the suit against the ECS as freedom violates no laws. The U.S. government attorneys claim that the Department of Interior and the National Park Service violated no federal laws on allowing the USC 2 Freedom Card, which will be held on South Lawn on the White House, to occur this weekend in the federal property. The claim comes in response to an emergency injunction application filed last weekend in the direction of Columbia Federal Court by a public investigating project to attempt to hold a fight, the event, which is Sunday. The lawsuit claims that the DOI and MPS violated the federal laws by ongoing private sporting event on public property and failing to obtain congressional approval for the UFC structure in federal land in the White House and Lincoln Memorial, and that there was no involvement in review before understanding the UFC's Claw Stadium to the White House. The government disputed various claims and argued the injunction would have harmed defendants and whatever. But anyway, I guess the UFC won that case, so it's still going to go on. I guess the only thing that could mess it up is the weather, because I heard there might be bad weather in Washington, D.C. this week, but it's still going to go on. I guess the Democrats tried to sue and try to say that they had wrongful injunction, but it's not going to work. So the UFC fight will still be going on this week. Unless, like I said, it rains or lightning. But Dana White, I saw in a video, said if even it's raining, they might still have a fight, unless if it's lightning, instead of just take precautionaries and pause it and then come back to it later in the night if it does lightning. But we'll see. I mean, the weather changes like that. But the government, despite these claims and argued an injunction would harm defendants and affiliated parties, the UFC became well over $600 million spent in terms of thousands of hours and labor expended for preparation for the event. The government argued overnight plans to harm if the injunction is not granted. I don't know. They're just trying to stop a fight, but like I said, the fight's still going to go on. I'm not going to read the whole thing. If you want to read it, you can go to ESPN.com. But I'm not reading the whole thing. But the fight's still going to go on Sunday night at 8 o'clock on CBS. I'm pretty sure on Paramount Plus, or at least on Paramount Plus. But it'll be on Sunday night at 8 o'clock, and we'll go more over that later on. But they're going to have a fight, so we don't have to worry about that unless it rains really bad or has bad lightning, I guess. Texas Tech Athletics Director. No, I'm not going to read that. But thank you for watching another episode of Stache Sports. Tomorrow I might talk more about Hornsby and get caught up on the Darnell Hornsby case about him gambling. I mean, I know he had a gambling problem, but it's going to be interesting to see if he can play college football for Texas Tech Red Raiders this year, since they're paying a lot of his money, since he can play players now in NCAA. Or recap NBA game and see if I was right and see if the San Antonio Spurs tie it up, like I said. But I think the Knicks might have a good night tonight and they might show up well. But the Knicks need to show up well and have a good night. They need to have their players show up. They need to have Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart have a good night. But the Spurs are not going to be going quiet because they want to tie it up and make it a new series. But we'll see. Carolina won last night, and I picked that one. So we'll see if I'm right again. Unless Epic Pirates can be able to beat Shohei Ohtani, but it's going to be hard. But thank you for watching Stache Sports, another episode of Stache Sports. Please like and share and subscribe and leave comments, and I'll try to answer them in the video, answer them on YouTube as well. But thank you for watching another episode of Stache Sports. These Stashers.